Three, two, one. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Delusions of Grandeur. I am your host, David Streggy, and here in the room with me, I have my good fiance, Tammy. Hello.
Hello.
And Boris, welcome back to the show.
Hello, thank you.
And Krol, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Definitely. So today we decided to go on about a film that Tammy really likes because her birthday is on the 21st, and we will probably not be going on that weekend. But we promised to be back the following weekend with one of I believe one of Boris's picks, and then the following week we'll go with something that Krol has picked. So
Now I wonder which one is that going to be.
Me too.
But
Sorry.
we'll be definitely keeping you guys aware of what films that we'll be having in store with you. But today's film is directed by Gore Verbinski. It was a 2003 film, and it's called The Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of the Black Pearl. And let's see what IMDb says about the film. IMDb says blacksmith Will Turner teams up with eccentric pirate Captain Jack Sparrow to save his love, the governor's daughter, from Jack's former pirate allies, who are now undead.
That's pretty accurate.
The film stars Johnny Depp, Jeffrey Rush, Orlando Bloom, and Keira Knightley, along with Jack Davenport, Jonathan Pryce, Lee Arenberg, Mackenzie Crook, among others. So, going into first impressions, since Tammy, this is your birthday pick, why don't you tell me, was this a first time watch for you?
No,
And why was this a pick that you chose?
no, it wasn't a first watch. In fact, I remember when this came out, the trailers lasted like a year before the movie came out, and everybody was anticipating the movie. And the first time I saw it is when it came out, the day it came out. So, I've really enjoyed the whole franchise, you might want to say, of all the pirate movies. I honestly believe that Johnny Depp really isn't acting, that he does it so well. It seems like he really is Captain Jack Sparrow, you know. So, other than that, I can't say much except for I really enjoy them all and look forward to seeing more.
Okay. Going over to, how about you, Krol? Was this a first time watch for you?
No. This is my third time, I believe. I did not see it when it first came out. I didn't see the trailers because I was busy working. Yeah, I love the movie. Loved it from the first time I watched it. Yeah, Johnny Depp is just so phenomenal in this movie. I mean, I love most of his movies. He's just absolutely phenomenal, and I can't remember his name. I always do this. Brandon, something Brandon. Anyways, he reminds me a lot of Johnny Depp. And if they were to do Pirates, I think it would be awesome. Like he was his cousin or something. It would just be so great. I will I'll have to look it up to see who I'm talking about and get back to you. But yeah, I love these movies. They're funny, they're action, and they. I was just realizing this first movie is almost 20 years old now. And so I guess it holds up till today because it feels like they didn't come out that long ago. So definitely great action. Everything's awesome. I didn't really notice any flubs. I'm sure there was a few here and there. Every movie has one. But it's just so well done. Everything is so great. I mean, I love Disney. I always have. So yeah. Oh, that's about all I have to say about it for now.
Okay, going over to Boris. Why don't you tell us, was this a first time watch for you?
Yes and no. I have stumbled upon this movie on TV many times and watched parts of it while doing this and that, but this is the first time I actually took the time to watch it from the beginning to the end. As it's a very long movie, and I usually, when a movie is so long, I go for it only if it's connected to a franchise that I already am into. So yeah, this was the first time I watched the movie in its entirety, but I do have to say I enjoyed it. A very good thing about it is that it gets kind of exciting since the very beginning. It doesn't take too long for the action to begin, and when Jack Sparrow appears for the first time, you kind of immediately start liking him. One thing I especially liked about his character is that he seems to like to mock figures of authority. And yeah, the movie doesn't ever get boring, not for a moment. From the beginning to the end, it was very good. I enjoyed it. It's very eventful, like there's always something happening. Maybe there were some moments when I struggled a little to keep track of whose boat had just gotten bombarded or whatever. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed the movie.
And this is definitely not a first time watch for me. I got into this movie way before I met Tammy. But I know I kind of collected them while I've been in my relationship with Tammy, because I think I got most of them through the Disney Club when we would like buy the subs that what is it, the six movies, get the seventh free thing going on or whatever, or during the Disney Club stuff. And not I'm pretty sure that I actually did see this in the theater, this particular one. I'm pretty sure that um, I used to have a guy from the state who was tasked with me after I got in trouble. I had a mentor take me to movies from time to time, and I think this was one of them. And I do believe that I did see this in the theater. And I have followed Johnny Depp's career before this. I mean, I know he was in Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
You saw the last one, I believe, in the theater too, because we went to it.
Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, he was definitely in Edward Scissorhands when he played the Borg before the Borg even existed. But
He was the original Borg.
Yeah, he was the original Borg. But he's had an interesting career. I mean, he's one that can say that he's actually worked with Vincent Price. So, which Vincent Price was the inventor in Edward Scissorhands. So, yeah, I love Jack Sparrow as a character. I mean, he just accidentally does everything, and just seems to pull himself off as like one of the best swords play people while being a drunk, and
Right?
uh, just as a phenomenal character for the Disney franchise. And that says a lot coming from me because um, I kind of dislike the mouse for all of their prices on their movies. But other than that,
But you want all their movies because they're awesome.
not all of them.
Okay, like 99%.
I would say about 40, 60.
Oh, please.
In any case, I'm just not a fan of the financial end of them. But regardless, this film was damn good. It was one of their better films, and it was based on a ride that, from what I understand, was in many of their operating areas: Disneyland, Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom, Tokyo Disneyland, Disneyland Park at Disneyland Paris, and Shanghai Disneyland. And it was placed in the Magic Kingdom in 1973, if I remember correctly. Yeah, in fact, the first one was at New Orleans Square on March 18th, 1967. And that's actually not my phone dinging. I think that's Krol. Could you silence your phone?
Yeah.
My phone is on permanent silence.
Okay.
But yeah, it was my phone, and I don't understand why, because permanent silence, so it shouldn't be dinging.
Well, in any case, has anybody actually been on the ride? Not sure if anybody else.
I have.
I know I was, and if I remember correctly, you're on a boat ride, and you take it through, and you have automated um, things telling you different stories of the different pirates that um, are happening, and I'm trying to remember because I think there were some like.
I went to the Haunted Mansion too, and let me tell you, that was scarier than the Haunted Mansion when I was a kid. It was 1980, I want to say, around that, or definitely in 80 something, 80 or 81. So I was like 7 or 8, I don't know. I was pretty young, and I went to the Haunted Mansion. The Haunted Mansion wasn't that bad, but the pirates were scary. Maybe because I wasn't expecting it, but because
I remember there being like a Blackbeard scene where the Blackbeard pirate ship came out like from the ceiling or something like that.
I don't remember that. I just remember all the undead pirates, coming out, and it looked like it was like 3D, like they were coming right at you and stuff. It was that's mostly my big memory of the ride.
Well, I was there twice for.
I wasn't really there once, so.
I was there once when I was 3 years old, and then once when I was I have to say 8 to 9 years old, and those were some pretty good years to see something at. So I remember going on the ride at least twice, and I remembered it. I mean, it was something that was something to behold. I mean, it was one of those like more rememberable rides, because to me, all I'd seen of pirates was like Treasure Island or something of that nature, you know.
You never saw
Here
Pirates of
is
Penzance?
I have once. It's hard to find that one on DVD.
I saw it, I think, twice back when it came out, and then again one other time. My mother saw the play, which had Peanut Noon from Herman's Hermits in it, which is her favorite singer. I say was because it stopped being her favorite before she passed, because she met him and he hit on her, and he's married, and my mother don't like that, so she was actually mad. Even though it was like someone she's like had a crush on her whole life, he's still married, so in her eyes he shouldn't be hitting on another woman.
I met Hermits because I worked at the airport.
Yeah, I met him too. I was there that day because it was at we went to a free concert, and I'm sorry this is still dinging. I'm gonna try to fix it now.
Well, this movie is definitely based on the ride. It's based on many of the stories that surround it. In fact, there was a pirate that we learned about last night on the bonus features that was went by the name of Cactus Jack, which almost sounds like it could be like the pirate that Jack Sparrow is based off of. But in the very beginning of this film, we get a moment where we get this this area of water that you can tell that there have been some downed ships, and we well, what do you think about this very beginning here, Tammy?
In the beginning, I thought it was neat how he came in and his ship is like sinking as he's coming in, and he just steps off onto the dock. And they tried to charge him for docking the ship, and they wanted him to write his name, and he's like, "Well, how about instead of the one, I give you 3, and we don't put the name." Okay. And as he's walking, the guy's little purse with coins is sitting on the thing, and he grabs it.
Well, even before that, we have young Elizabeth,
I missed
who
that.
is on that ship in the very beginning, and I guess they found a young boy amongst the ships that were wrecked, and he had this pirate necklace, and she took that necklace, and
which that ends up being Will Smith or Will Turner.
Will Turner.
Yeah.
Will Smith.
Hello.
The first Prince of Pirates.
Sorry for disappearing. Technical issues.
Yeah, sorry
No
about that.
problem.
I got it, dude. I got it, guys. I got it. No more beeping in the background. Sorry about that. I have 3 phones, and I wasn't even sure which one it was. And I finally figured it out, and I got it.
Well, thank you.
That was annoying. That was annoying me too. I'm like, why is this beeping at me? Which one is it?
Sorry, David.
Yep. Al is to blame. But anyways, um, uh, so this very beginning, I was explaining to the audience as well as to them was that there was this shipwreck in the very beginning, and we meet young Elizabeth Turner and her father on this ship, and we also meet like one of the main pirates that helps Johnny Depp, which later we meet in Tortuga, um, which I think his name is Dibs. But he's an interesting character. I guess he's part of the crew, and they rescue this young boy, which I guess they find out his name is Will Turner, and Elizabeth sees the pirate coin that's around his neck and takes it for herself because she's heard all these pirate stories, and I guess in her own mind she's kind of protecting Will from whatever, you know. And I guess fast forward later, he works for a swordsman or a metal worker, and has grown up in her household, I guess. But before we learn that, we meet Jack Sparrow. So Krol, what did you think about Jack Sparrow when he showed up sinking on that ship?
It was absolutely great. You see him at first, and it looks like he's on the head of a big ship, and then all of a sudden they pan over. You see him on this little boat, you know, and it's just hilarious. You tell he's definitely a pirate. You know, right off the bat, he looks just like a pirate. You know, so you know he's the pirate, and he's by himself on this little boat. It's absolutely hilarious. And I love how the boat just slowly sinks, and just as it's almost done, he steps around onto the dock. And then I love how the guy stops him and says, "You got to pay to park the boat." And they pan back to the boat that's almost completely sunk now under the water. Like there's not even really a boat anymore to pay for it. But you know, he says 2 shillings to park, and he's like, "How about 3 if we get the name?" And like Tammy said earlier, that was pretty funny. I missed him. I just like I said, I've seen this 3 times, and I missed him picking up the guy's purse. So I did not notice that. That's that's definitely Jack Sparrow. So,
Yeah, he walked past the little like a desk thing, and there was a little black purse on it. He picked it up and he shook it. He went, and he pocketed it.
That's funny. I missed that, but yeah, that's definitely him. You know, all through this movie, watching the first time, you know, I always wondered like, whose side is Jack on? Okay, yeah, he's definitely on his own side, but you know, it's like he's a scoundrel. You know, reminds me kind of like Han Solo in a way. You know.
Jack is out for Jack, basically.
You're right, but he seems to he's on the guy's side. He ends up saving everybody. You know, right from the get go, he saves her. You know, he didn't have to do that, and it was so messed up. He saved her, and then
he's like
they
your
arrest him for being a pirate.
accidental. He's
And,
like
and
your
yeah, he is a pirate,
accidental
but
hero.
you know, the only reason you caught him is because he just saved her. You know. He was selfless and went and saved her, and no one else could. You know, she'd be dead because of that stupid corset. I love how they show that corset because they always see women wearing corsets, but they never have women really complaining about how they, you know, you can't breathe in them. I mean, she's a thin girl, and she couldn't breathe in that, you know. And I know those corsets are made for all kinds of women, and I couldn't imagine having to wear one. And I love how she passes out in it, you know, and falls over. He's like talking to her, and then he look around like, "Where'd you go?" And then realize she fell in the water. You know, it was it was a great scene. I love Keira Knightley. I mean, I saw her first in A Knight's Tale, and I absolutely loved her in that too. So she's a great actress.
What did you think about Jack Sparrow as you first saw him pull up to the dock there, Boris?
Mm. Well, like I said, I found him pretty interesting since the beginning. That scene when he gives more money to those guys so that they don't ask for his name. That's a pretty good way to show how people on higher positions are easily corrupted. uh, and yeah, like I said, I really like how he likes to mock figures of authority. And yeah, as you say, he's an accidental hero. He does his own stuff, but it more often than not results in something good being done. And well, since he appears throughout the whole series, he is the main character. He, I guess, does have to be a good guy in a way.
Yeah, like
Well,
I said, he reminds me of Han Solo. I mean, a lot of similarities. I mean, Han Solo's always out for Han Solo, but you know, he ends up doing the right thing a lot and helping everyone out and stuff. I guess Han Solo became a little more respectable. Shh, don't tell him that. But yeah, definitely similar characters.
but yeah, let's. I'm gonna try to shorten the plot a little bit so that we can probably talk about it a little bit more extensively. So this is the film in a nutshell. We've got Johnny Depp playing Jack Sparrow, who is a pirate who has lost his ship, has been marooned on an island, and it is only after his precious black pearl. We have Elizabeth Turner, who's played by Keira Knightley. She is trapped in a situation where she has is of age to marry, and so
It's Elizabeth Swan, honey.
well, Elizabeth Swan, but she does adapt the name of Elizabeth Turner when a group of pirates ends up kidnapping her and they believe that she is the long lost child of Bootstrap Bill Turner, otherwise known as William Turner, who is also another pirate who was a part of their crew at one point in time. But it turns out this crew is cursed because they stole, or actually, it is because of Bootstrap why they are cursed. He took and sent a single coin along with his son to ensure that they were cursed for all eternity to be part of this undead crew sailing sailing the seas.
Cortez
But he wasn't,
Gold.
because they killed him when he protested what they did to Jack. They ended up killing him and leaving
Put
him
him in Davy Jones' locker.
bottom of the ocean. So ironically, then they found out that it was the only way to break the curse was his blood.
Yep, the Cortez Gold, I believe it was.
Yeah, it was Cortez Gold.
Yep. So ultimately, I guess the gold was calling them because they're connected by the curse, and so they attacked Port Royal, which is where Elizabeth Swan and her family live. They took her, and that's when we meet Captain Barboso, played by Jeffrey Rush. And Jeffrey Rush is another character actor that I've got to say, he plays his part down to a T.
He does. I did want to. I know you skipped through kind of quick, but I did want to mention that the first fight between Will and Jack Sparrow was really fucking awesome. I mean, the great swords fight in the barn. I mean, in the blacksmith area, and then they're up on the rafters and stuff, and you know, it was just so well done.
That's
so
one of my favorite. That's like,
and this is where you first see that Jack isn't really that much of a bad guy. Even Will kind of thought, because he's like, this bullet isn't for you. Like, he just looked like, you know, like he didn't want to shoot him. He was just trying to tell him, like,
you have to feel sorry for that poor donkey.
Oh yeah, I found that scene funny because Will was like trying to kill Jack, while Jack was more like teaching Will how to use a sword.
Well, he was
Right.
he was kind of like, oh, so you know something about the sword, but what about your footwork?
Now I say screw the donkey. He was an ass.
And then, of course, there was also the comedy that was between them too, because he was like, "Who makes all of these?" I did.
And I practiced every day for 3 hours.
Hey, dude, you really need a girl.
You need a girl. Oh wait, unless you already have one, but you can't have her. You can't have her, so that's why you practice 3 hours. And that hit home. That's exactly it. He was in love with Elizabeth Swann.
And this is why I say he accidentally does everything, because he fell backwards and that board flipped up and flipped him over, and then he accidentally got his feet hung up upside down, and then suddenly they were in the Raptors. There's a fighting back and forth on that board up above.
It reminds me a lot of Drunken Master. Drunken Master, if you ever saw that with Jackie Chan. He could only fight when he was drunk. It was absolutely hilarious if you haven't seen it.
I have the movies, I just haven't watched them yet.
Oh, it's great. It's a great movie. It's very similar to this style, except for kung fu instead of sword fighting.
Well, in any case, Johnny Depp tries to, or Jack Sparrow tries to escape, and he literally pleads with him, "Please let me go," you know, and that's when his drunken boss, Will Turner's drunken boss, gets up, knocks him over the head with the bottle, and that's when we get the whole Commander Norris part. This is the day that Jack Sparrow almost escaped from our custody or whatever.
That was good. See, I didn't really like that guy too much. He turned out not to be so bad, you know. He was a lawman, but he wasn't that bad, you know. Especially at the end, you know, you find out that he's really not that bad of a guy, you know.
You know what's funny is I was watching Tammy and I were watching like the behind the scenes, and he said the first time that he had actually met Johnny Depp and all this Jack Sparrow get up, he was like, he looks so cool, and the thing that he said is that he looked like an ice cream cone.
Ice cream cone?
Yeah.
I don't see that, but okay. Does he want to lick him?
And the other thing that I remember is that Keira Knightley, she was saying that from the onset of seeing what her character could do, she thought that she was just going to be this lady that was in carriages, not really doing much, and she found out in her role that she's going to be doing a whole heck of a lot more.
Yeah.
So she ended up doing just as much sword practicing routine as the rest of them did, and she was not expecting to be doing all of this work for this movie before she got into it. She thought she was going to be lazy.
She did a great fucking job. She fucking pulled it off, though. I tell you, she's awesome. Like I said, I love her.
I also remember her in Princess of Thieves. which was another movie that I knew of
Princess of
with her.
Thieves.
Yeah, she played a Robin Hood like movie.
I kind of figured. I'd never even heard of it.
Ooh.
I gotta look that up.
Um,
I love Robin. I love Robin Hood adaptations, and I
yeah,
never,
it
I love
was
her. So.
definitely a younger her, so I definitely love it when she was younger and while she was in these beginning pirate movies. But as she was in further movies, I don't know why, but it kind of looked like she was starting to get like almost like bone thin, like gaunt, almost not as pretty as she used to be, you know. But
Maybe she has.
an eating disorder or something like that.
Yeah.
But which is not to say anything bad about her, because I really think that she was very pretty in this movie, and I do think that she added to a lot to this movie, especially later on, which I'm sure I'll mention this later. But one of my favorite scenes in here is when they both get marooned on an island, and they have fun, and then the next morning he gets up and there's this like whole big bonfire, and he's like, "What happened to the rum?" And she tells him, and he's like, "But what happened to all the rum?"
Why the room? I love the part like right after when she's like anytime now a ship with white sails be coming across that ocean, and you'll see. And then he goes to the other side of the island or whatever, and he looks and he sees the ship and he's like, "Oh, there'll be no living with her now."
I don't know, Tammy.
She was completely right.
Tammy, what did you think of Keira Knightley as a character throughout the film?
I thought she did really good, for somebody like when we saw the behind the scenes that thought that she wasn't going to have much to do. I think she pulled it out. She went with it really well.
Okay.
And and I think she's pretty, and a lot of the scenes that they put her in and everything, she couldn't look so pretty in. So I think she did that very well.
Oh my God, guys! I just found this out. I looked her up just because I was curious what else she did. The hand scene. She was Padme's handmaiden in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I thought she was, because I'm looking at her. I'm like, why does she remind me so much like Padme? Like, I didn't realize it was her in the Star Wars movies, but it reminded me of Padme, and now I know why. Yeah, she does look a lot like Natalie Portman too. They definitely could be related. I don't think they are, but
was Star Wars those Star Wars episodes out before Pirates or after? I was trying to think.
Phantom Menace is 1999, and so yeah, it was.
Okay, so that was definitely a role. So that's why she probably kind of got this a role because of being in Star Wars, because that was a Disney property at the time.
It was not Disney property at that time.
It wasn't?
No, Disney had not bought it yet.
Okay.
She got the role probably because of her work with Night in A Knight's Tale, and I mean, because it was, it's about a knight, and her name just says Knight too. I mean, her name's literally Knight, Knightley.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, she's a great actress, like I said.
Well, in any case, she very much protects Will Turner when she takes that coin in the very beginning, which is why she was kidnapped, and that's why the pirates took her along. But what's interesting is that she uses parlay, which apparently is something amongst the pirate code, which basically means kind of like a flag of truce. At least until a decision is made where everything can be on good accord. So she's taken to the captain of the Black Pearl at this moment, who just so happens to be Captain Barbossa, and she tells her a little bit of the tale, and this is where we get some of the best CGI animation ever in a movie, to me, where you get that transformation in the moonlight, where he tells her, he steps out into the moonlight, and you see his hand, arm, and whole entire body turn into that skeleton. He's like telling her, well, you're when you were talking about ghost stories, well, you're in one. And she just screams, and she backs up into and you see all the pirates on the ship. They're scrubbing the deck. They're doing their duties, and
they're all skeletons.
They're all skeletons, and I love, and I gotta mention the two pirates that are like Heckle and Jekyll,
right?
Where the one guy has a glass eye, and always has his glass eye or wooden eye popping out. Tammy, what did you think about that guy?
He's a trip. Them two together are just, I don't know.
Well, yeah,
they're the Laurel and Hardy of
the first.
I was just gonna say that's what they kind of remind me of, because they're just two total goofs.
Yeah. Well, you can't forget Laurel and Hardy when you think of two goofs. They're my favorite.
Yeah, they were definitely a charm to this movie. And the first time you hear them, he's going around the whole entire Port Royal going, "Here, pop it! I hear you, pop it!" And
yeah. I see you, puppet. Now, just to go back to Keira Knightley for a second, like I said, I looked her up. That Princess of Thieves you were talking about was actually before this, and that's when she trained in swashbuckling, as some other things too. She trained for fencing. I mean, as horse riding and archery. So she already had some fencing lessons before she did Pirates, in Princess of Thieves, which was Disney. So that's probably why she got this role, because they already knew she could do some sword fighting and stuff.
There was a swordsman who was behind teaching the swords play, that apparently taught behind Errol Flynn.
Basil Rathbone.
Basil Rathbone. But I do believe that he worked with Pirates of the Caribbean.
That's awesome. Yeah, like I said, he always plays the bad guy that loses, but he's probably the best swordsman one of the best swordsmen in the world. But he always loses because he's the bad guy. But yeah, he does it so well. Well, he makes the other person look so good.
They had him on film in the bonus features, showing some of the teachings that he was teaching them. It was kind of cool. How you would hold the sword at a certain point in time to parry, and how you would lunge forward or this and that, and it was kind of neat to
watch
see.
that sometimes.
Oh yeah, definitely. The Pirates has definitely a lot of extras on the bonus features. But
that's the one thing that I think the DVDs has on the streaming is I mean, sometimes the streaming they'll get extras with it, but more than not you don't. So that's the one thing DVD does have over streaming.
My set came with the 2 DVDs, and the second DVD had all kinds of behind the scenes stuff.
Did they have bloopers?
Yes.
I love bloopers. I would love to see the bloopers. I love watching bloopers especially I love how they have in every Jackie Chan movie, at the end of the movie they show his bloopers, and he's always laughing every time he screws up. It's funny. But yeah, so
Yeah,
I love
my
movies.
friends knew that I really liked the movie, and they had bought that. They bought me actually the first three every time like birthday or Christmas came around, and it was out. So they
Nice.
always bought me those. And the first one they bought me the collector one, which had that extra disc with all this stuff on it. It was really neat.
Yeah, that is pretty awesome.
But yeah. So while she gets kidnapped, Will Turner ends up breaking Jack Sparrow out of jail. Because evidently has actually um, uh, uh, he actually was behind the architecture of putting those jails together, so he knew um, how to spring him from from that jail cell. But I do like how or Jack Sparrow is in that jail cell when those dudes are like trying to get that dog to come over with a
He's the one
bone.
who tried to get the dog to come over. He had the bone, and he's like,
Well, the guys had it
come on, you,
first.
come on, you mangy,
Yeah,
mangy.
but the
I don't know. He
guys had it
insulted the
first.
dog, and then the dog ran away. He's like, I'm sorry.
Well, the
Oh
guys had
yeah,
it first, and he told the guys that dog's never gonna come to you. And then that after the prison got bombed and the guys got out, then he had the bone and he tried to get the dog to come over
Why didn't he get out the same way they did? I don't
because there
understand.
wasn't enough room. It didn't bomb his area.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
and then part of the reason that Will gets him out is that he says he can find the Black Pearl because he's got that compass that will take you wherever your desire. It's everybody thinks the compass is broken, and it's not broken. It goes to wherever you desire the person that's holding it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And the thing that he desires most is the Black Pearl at that moment. So it's the perfect opportunity. And so what they do is they go and commandeer a ship
I
from
love
Port
that.
Royal,
I love how
and,
they do that too.
and they do it from because just like there is um, a Laurel and Hardy on the pirate side, there is a Laurel and Hardy on the soldier side.
They're more
With
like Abbott and Costello.
okay, so those guys are like okay, so Laurel and Hardy and Abbott and Costello show up in Pirates of the Caribbean, ladies and gentlemen.
Basically.
Uh, so we have Abbott and Costello. Well, we'll just call them Abbott and Costello for right now because that's who they remind us of the most. They are protecting the ships in the port, and what they do is they end up trying to steal one ship while coming back the other way. They swing over to the other ship.
Yeah, because
And
the other one was all ready to go.
yep.
The other one is all ready to go in the ship that they stole, because they even said how two men will not be able to get this ready to sail and everything. And then Jack, after they steal the other one, thanks for getting it ready. We never would have been able to do it with two of us, and of course they stole the Interceptor, which was the fastest ship in the fleet. So as they had this discussion earlier that the only ship that could possibly catch the Interceptor would be the Black Pearl. That doesn't really exist, says one guy. And says Costello, and Avis insists that it does.
Okay, so ultimately after that, they end up having to go and find a crew. So they go to the island of Tortuga, which is evidently this way station for pirates. It's kind of an island, and privateers and pirates and merchants all seem to gather here, and this is like the best place to find, the desperate people who are looking for a crew. But when they first arrive, I love this. He walks in, and this girl comes up and slaps him. And he's like, "Oh, I'm not sure if I deserve that."
Yeah.
And then another girl walked up and was like, "Who was that?" And then smacks him another one.
He's like, I probably deserve that.
And then, of course, when they get the crew, when Gibbs, which is who they meet up with, Gibbs is his name. He basically gathers a motley
Whoa,
crew
wait.
together.
When they meet up with him, he's laying with the pigs. And they throw water on him, wake him up, and tell him what's going on. And he's like, okay, I'm awake now. And then he throws another thing of water on him, and he goes, I'm already awake. And he goes, well, that was for the smell.
And there's a deleted scene that evidently right after that I guess Will Turner kind of like upsets like a chair and tables, and everyone scatters in the room. And Gibbs says, "Hey, that your boy there, he's kind of a stick in the mud, isn't he?" Or he's kind of a stick, isn't he, or something like that. Huh? Oh, I heard her talking to Sassy in the background. But in any case, so they get this crew gathered. There's a blind man with a parrot, and there's also a woman that is hiding under a hat that apparently Jack Sparrow has borrowed a boat from her, and she smacks him one, and he's like, I might have deserved that. In any case, Will Turner ends up offering her the ship that they commandeered, because ultimately they're after the Black Pearl anyway. So what the hell do they need that ship for? So, meanwhile, Elizabeth is with the pirates. They go to this cove, which holds all the treasure that they've gathered, and all this like Cortez gold, so that they can perform this ceremony of getting this blood, and somehow I'm trying to remember how Norris gets involved. He gets involved by chasing after them when they commandeer the ship, and then he catches up with them. Oh, that's right, because of that bonfire. So ultimately, they end up. Once they get their crew, they end up catching up with the Black Pearl, and then Jack Sparrow gets marooned with Elizabeth on that island, and then because of that bonfire, that attracts the attention of Commodore Norris.
You missed the part where they realize that she's not the heir.
Yeah, they realize that she's not the heir.
When they cut her hand to spill her blood. Like when they say spill her blood, she thinks they're gonna kill her. But then they just grab a knife and cut her hand and get the blood. And so
yeah,
they're pirates, but they weren't that evil. They could have just killed her first place.
Well, yeah, because when they finally realize that it's Will Turner and they have Will Turner in hand.
Well, actually, at first they still thought it was her because she had already escaped. But they're like, we'll just spill all her blood now to make sure. And then they realize that she's gone.
Well, yep. Right after they have the big fight between the two ships, and they have Sparrow down in the dungeon, and they're fighting the ships. He's like, "Quit bombing my ship!"
Now that scene with the fork, when the fork goes into Laurel's eye, That was
Be-
absolutely hilarious. That was I just love that scene. And, you know, the other
Well,
one, you know, grabs the fork. The guy comes out with it.
and the reason why is because they don't have any cannonballs on board or
Yeah, they
any
didn't have any
gunfire.
cannonballs, so they had to use silver and whatever they had on
Yeah,
board.
because the only ship that was able to catch them was the Black Pearl, and they knew that they was going to catch them, so they tried to get everything off the ship so it would go faster. And then by the time the Pearl caught them, they didn't have anything to put in the cannons.
So they come up with the idea of
dropping the anchor,
throwing the anchor, and come around fast. And said, "You're mad. It sounds like a plan that Jack Sparrow would come up with." And so they did it, you know. And
mad like Jack Sparrow, because she actually came back without Jack Sparrow, didn't she? And they were like, "Well, what happened to?" Oh yeah, Will Turner came back without Jack.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Well, what happened to Jack?" Well, we kind of had to leave him behind, and they're like, "Oh," so Gibbs, he was like mad like Jack Sparrow, and they end up siding with each other, and them cannons just kind of like come out and shoot across at each other. And this isn't quite the moment where the okay, because it's later when Will Turner actually is because there is a moment where Jack Sparrow goes over to Barbossa and tells him that he knows exactly who is whom, and it's like he's having a deal with the devil again, you know, because he's trying to work both sides, you know. He's trying to appease that party
well, at that moment they were going to kill him, so
Yeah.
he was like, well, you know, if you do that, you won't know. And then, you know, so he keeps stalling things to do what he wants to do, you know, to save himself or to save Will or whoever. So yeah, he does a great job showing that he's on your side. Yeah, I love how he explains that that he's untrustworthy, and he's the only one you can truly know what he's going to be doing, because he's completely untrustworthy. Now, the trustworthy people, you can't know what they're going to do. He makes it sound like it makes complete sense, even though it doesn't. Great how he says it.
Well, and ultimately, they have this moment where Will is caught. They are about to do the blood thing again, and
this time they don't want to take any chances. They're going to kill him.
Correct.
But while Captain Sparrow is talking with him, he manages to steal one of the coins.
Yep.
And
Will understands what's going on. So
he understands when he says and coins the phrase at the opportune time, because he said that earlier when he was escaping him from jail. He said, "This bullet is not for you. It will come at an opportune time." And so when he said something to that effect, that's when Will caught on, and that's when you. That's why I love this part, because that's when he has the sword fight with Barbossa, and then he gets a sword stuck in him, and he says something like, "Well, we be monsters in here," and then he also
he didn't know he was undead, because he stuck Barbossa first. Barbossa pulled his sword out and stuck him, and he is like looking like he's gonna die, and then he falls back into the light, and then he looks down and he's like, "Oh, that's interesting, very interesting." And then he starts playing with the coin in his
in his skeleton hand. I
Yeah,
thought that was neat.
yep. And then he's
Mm.
then they back to the fighting again. Yeah, I love when he shoots him and he's like, you wasted that bullet. He's like, no, I didn't. He looks back and sees Will had cut his hand and dropped the coin back into the pile, and Jack Jack had thrown his coin to Will too, so he'd have that one back before that, and so when he did that and he was shot, he actually came back to life, normal, and then died.
Uh, Actually, there is something about that I found a little bit confusing, I must say.
Why? What was going?
First, while both Jack and Barbossa were cursed, Barbossa wounded Jack with a sword, but Jack survived because of the curse. But
Jack wasn't cursed until he stole that coin.
Yep.
He had skipped.
Well, yeah, but yeah, but when he was cursed at the moment when he got wounded, and because he had the coin, he survived.
Yeah.
But then, at the moment when Barbossa got shot, he was also still cursed. But then, when the curse was undone, Barbossa died because of the bullet shot. But Jack's sword wound did nothing.
It already healed up.
You forget also that Keira Knightley's character Elizabeth also tried to stab him or something like that or before too. So he's been stabbed several times during this movie. So by the time he's double dead, at least by the end of this
You also
movie.
forget that while this whole fight is going on, the crew is going to the Commodore ship.
Yeah.
And they're the skeletons, which I think this is one of the best parts, is watching those skeletons walk underwater to the ship, and then you see them crawl up the ship, and they're skeletons, and they're crawling on the ropes and this and that to get on the ship, and then and then that fight ensues, and that is just awesome. I mean, we watched the behind the scenes part of that and how they did it, and they did it in 3 parts. They had all the actors do the fight, then they had the Englishmen do it, with nobody else, and then they put the skeletons in because the skeletons were each person. So they did it like in 3 parts to make that scene. And it was really neat to watch the behind the scenes of how they did that. The guys were saying, when they had to do it with nobody there, it was really funny to sit there and stab and everything else and nobody's there,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was an interesting thing to note. And from what I understand, there were like 20 locations in order to make that underground cavern with all that treasure. They had over 300 artists working on making that.
It took like 5 months, they said, to make that whole thing. And they had, they kept adding treasure and doing this, doing that. They wanted the coins to look a different colored gold than the other stuff to bring out the coins. And, they really did a lot of work on making that cave.
And when it came down to the cave, they wanted it to look a little bit like the original ride too, because a lot of the original ride was done through caves, and they wanted to get to bring that aspect of the ride to the movie. Which
when I saw that, I immediately thought of Dragon's Lair. Like that looked just like a dragon's lair. I mean, they had so much gold there, and I'm just thinking like they're dead. so there's nothing they can actually do with all that gold. Yet they still, because they're pirates, they still gotta steal gold and they still gotta plunder it and stuff, even though there's absolutely nothing they can do with it anymore. And they have so much gold they could never do anything with it. It's just kind of like a dragon, where a dragon's always got his gold and everything. But what is a dragon going to do with gold?
There was
Yeah.
there was a pirate historian that was on the bonus features of the disc that apparently buried treasure. Evidently, that's kind of a myth that pirates actually had buried treasure. In fact, the only person that was a pirate in historical records was Captain Kidd. He ended up burying some of his treasure in order for it not to be found
Right,
when
that's
he
why
was
it
caught.
was buried.
But he was the only pirate or privateer that was known to have buried his treasure. So it was something of that was always seemed to be attributed with pirates
Right,
and
because he
their
did
mythology.
it, and they probably thought it was a cool idea, so they adapted that to like Treasure Island and all these other pirate movies. So it just became a thing that pirates do,
Correct.
where it was only him.
And
Also, the walking the plank actually was only done in the historical too. Was only used like one time. The whole and
But it was such
historical
a cool
facts.
thing. They thought that was a good, cool thing for pirates to do.
Right.
Walking the plank.
Now,
Yeah.
there was a guy who actually was kind of a sadist who ended up, I forget which pirate he was, but he would actually take and sever people's lips and then cook them up and make people eat their lips.
Ew.
And this was just something that would be part of his character, you know, and there were more like things that he evidently did that the historian didn't want to say, but he did this type of thing, and it became part of his terror, you know, and these were the kinds of things that pirates became known for. And there was even even Captain Kidd, he didn't originally want to become a pirate. He actually set out to become a pirate capturer, someone who actually captured pirates for a living. But then his crew mutinied against him, and then he had to work his way to the top of being a pirate on another ship, and that's how he became a pirate. And then, of course, there was a dude. I think his name was Sir Francis Drake. I guess he was a lord, but he started out as a pirate. But he died with royalties and stuff. But there are many people who remember him for his pirate days. So, but in any case, getting back to the movie, it was just interesting hearing about the different pirates and whatnot. That were real pirates. There were even there were female pirates, and there was also some Chinese pirates they were talking about in the bonus features, which was kind of neat. But in any case, going.
Well, just one little thing. When we were watching the behind the scenes thing, they showed us things about the ships, and the two English ships were actually done on barges, and the only one that they really built was the Black Pearl. But then they built smaller ones for some of the scenes, and they had like this big pool that was like 40 feet deep for the scenes, because they said the scenes on the ocean would be cost too much, and they would, somebody could get hurt if they actually tried to do this on the ocean. So the scenes where the ocean, is coming up on the water's coming up on the ships and everything, those are all the smaller ships that are replicas that
That's
they
cool.
did this with. And they said, they did this also because the one ship that blew up, they didn't want to blow up one of those other ones out on the ocean.
And I think with those ships that they
They
did the miniatures on, that's where they used the fog machines too. Whenever they had the foggy moments,
Right, because they said
so
they
they
tried using it on the actual ocean and it didn't work out right.
they
Now,
didn't
now,
want to do a spoo down.
you didn't mention the most
Sorry.
famous pirate of them all.
Blackbeard.
No, Dread Pirate Roberts.
Right. Um, uh, he was an interesting character for the Princess Bride.
Well,
uh,
there's been so many.
yeah, there's definitely been many, including yours from the Court Jester, which he was kind of a pirate in a way, a land pirate. But in any case, so we have this right after the cove, and the curse is released. That's when we have Barbossa die, or so we think, because he actually comes back in the second movie. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler.
Then we have a moment where Jack Sparrow is now on the hangman's noose, and we as far as we know, Elizabeth is about to be married to Commodore Norris or Norton, and she faints, and Will Turner turns and tells her that he loves her, and he goes.
He loves her first before she faints, and she fainted because to distract everybody, because Will drew his sword, so when Captain Sparrow, fell down, he landed on the sword, so he was able to stand up, and it was great how they did that. I love that.
Yeah,
Yep.
there's one thing I found interesting here is at the beginning you get to know Elizabeth as a character and you get to know Jack as a character separately, and that kind of makes you think those two would get hooked up later, but that doesn't happen. So although I wouldn't have minded if they did get together, but I find it interesting that this movie kind of broke that stereotype.
Spoiler alert, though, they kind of do have kind of a love tryst going on between her and Jack Sparrow and Will Turner in the following films.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, when
so
I first saw this, I thought she would end up with Jack as well. And then she ended up with Will, and I was like, oh, okay. I mean, seeing it again, I kind of saw that, yeah, she had a thing for Will when she saw him in the water. Like, she immediately, just looked at him like she had a crush on him immediately. So it was a mutual thing between the two. But when I first saw this, I thought she was going to end up with Jack too. So it was kind of like, okay.
So now that we've kind of ended the film, basically, because and we talked a lot about
the whole part where Jack gets captured again after he escapes the noose, and Will stands in front of him and protects him, and he's like, you forget your place, and he's like, this is my place in front of Jack Sparrow. And then she walks over next to Will and says, me too. And then the governor tells everyone to put their guns down because his daughter's there. And he's like, this is what you truly want, to be with Will. the Commodore? And she's like, I do. And then, they basically decide to let Jack go, and
Well,
he
and
Well, Jack does his little speech, and as he's doing it, he falls over.
falls over, and they look, and he's swimming to the Black Pearl that
well, why
come
did
back
he
for
do?
them.
Why do you do that? He's got nowhere left but the hangman's noose,
Yep,
and
and then you see the Black Pearl show up, and um,
that's when
and
we
then
get
then this is where you
Commodore
get to see
Norris.
that the Commodore isn't such a bad guy, because he says
Yep.
to Will, "This is a fine sword. I hope you have as much detail and care in everything in your life," meaning take care of her, because he does care about her. He really does truly care for her. He wasn't just marrying her because she was a pretty little thing or whatever. He really did have feelings for her and cared for her. And he also said, we got what about Jack? He's like, oh, I think we can give him a day head start. So
Well,
even Jack, he's kind of giving a little leeway to as well, because of everything.
He's another character that shows up in the following movie that I think I love the fact that even though he's kind of a stick in the mud, he kind of becomes like a pirate himself in the second movie. And
well, like I
he's
said,
like
you see that
shoes on the other foot kind of guy.
yeah, even though he was a stick in the mud, at the end, you kind of saw that he really does have a heart, and he really does care for her. And even though Jack Sparrow is a pirate, and he's bound to chase the pirate, he still gives him a little leeway, because the pirate did save the day, a few times. So he gave him a little bit of leeway there. He didn't say he wasn't going to stop chasing him, but he said he'd give him the head start. So.
I know we talked a lot about the production, but I want to ask both you and Boris about what you thought about the production. So I'll go with you, Krol, first. And what did you think about the production overall?
Oh, I thought it was wonderful. I mean, every detail, the boats, the shore, the islands, everything looked like it belonged. It looked like it was pirates. It looked like it was a seaport. In the islands. The stranded island. It was just absolutely phenomenal. Everything that was done was done well, and like I said, there may have been some flubs here and there, but nothing I noticed. I mean, it was really well done. So I
You
really
would have
enjoyed
gotten.
it.
Oh,
It
not to
really,
interrupt you, Carl, but if you would have gotten to see the behind the scenes things like we did, they did a lot of research. They researched
they
what
really did.
the
They
ships
really,
looked like, what the people were wearing. They went out of their way to make sure that they wanted to make it as authentic as possible, even though it was a Disney film. They said they didn't want it to look like Disney. They wanted it to look as real as possible. And
yeah,
they
they did such an awesome job. I mean, you can tell. You can. I mean, I didn't see the behind the scenes, but you can tell they did their research.
One
You can
thing,
tell it's so well done.
one thing I wanted to say before I go over to you, Boris, about production is the fact that what is known about pirates is that they when it came to their ships, they actually went with smaller boats that were not as billowy and as big as you see in movies. They were more like these smaller schooners with like smaller guns, so that they could go through small channels and get around much more unnoticeable. And oftentimes they would
Makes more sense.
throw up flags from like different countries instead of throwing up that skull and bones that they are
I actually knew
now
that.
known
I
for.
don't know where I found that, where I knew that from, but I knew that.
Well, and the original symbol for the skull and bones actually came with an hourglass um, symbol underneath the skull and bones, or at least they would have a skeleton and the hourglass. Various pirates would flag certain things, but eventually it just like kind of got down to that bare skull and bones crossed, you know. But
One other
oftentimes,
one other little neat fact, sorry, hon, is Captain Jack Sparrow's gun is actually a real gun. All the other ones were replicas. His gun was an actual. That's what they wanted him to have. That one. It is a real gun
Ooh.
from that time period.
from that time period.
I forget exactly what they said it was, but his gun was in fact the real deal, and the other two were rented from a company that actually did replicas of that time period. So, other than that, Boris, what did you think of the production?
I thought it was definitely very good. This movie must have really been difficult to make with everything that was going on and all the CGI they needed to do. Of course, the skeletons and those things, that was really well done.
I got a
and
kick out of the skeleton monkey too.
Oh yeah.
I forget get to mention.
Oh yes, we didn't talk about the monkey at all. Shame on us.
Yeah,
I
his
love
name
that
is Jack.
monkey.
We named the
Yeah,
monkey
they
the
named the
Monkey
monkey
Jack.
after him. He's like, "Thank you, Jack. You're welcome." I was talking to the monkey. We named him Jack.
Yeah, I love that monkey. I found it so cute, even though it was with the bad guys.
Well, now that did you have anything else to say, Tammy, on the production value of this film? I know we both kind of talked about some of the behind the scenes stuff, but
Well, yeah, which we have a little more info because of that. But when watching the behind the scenes stuff, you really saw how much they put into this. They said it was. They said about there was like about 900 people total in this film to do everything, and usually 300 were on the set like every day, and they had
A lot
like
of people.
50 people a day just doing makeup, and that all the costumes would come perfectly clean, perfectly brand new, and then they would have to sit there and make them look, for the
like
pirate.
they were dirty.
They make them look dirty, and they went into showing how they made everybody up and the things they used to make the pirates look dirty and what they used for the clothes and stuff. It was really neat to watch this and to know that they did all this research, that they didn't just throw this stuff all together. They researched all of this. They had boards that they would have the pictures on, and of how they were going to do this, and how they were going to, and what this looked like back in the day, and this and that, and how they. It was really something neat. If you get a chance to see this behind the scenes stuff, it was. I don't normally watch this stuff that often, but it was so interesting just to know that
Certain
They-
movies are really good to see.
right, that they didn't just throw this all together, that they thought about this, and they wanted it to be as authentic as possible. They didn't want it to be just another pirate movie.
That's why it's the best pirate movie.
It's one of them. I definitely like a lot of the films that Disney has put in order. In fact, there's a reason why I mentioned Treasure Island before, is because one of the things that always seems to be associated with piracy or being a pirate is the fact that you got a wooden leg, you got an eye patch, and a parrot.
Yeah.
And you got a bandana.
And a bandana.
Oh
And
yeah.
one of the things about Long John Silver, especially in the original Treasure Island, is the fact that he actually did not have a wooden leg, and nor did he in real life. He just walked around with one leg, and had a crutch, and so How a wooden leg got into that mix, I guess, is something else. But
They they said the guy that was talking about real pirates said that pirate life was very hard and it was real easy to lose a limb or lose your eye or scratch or get scratches or this because it was it was a hard life, and he said that
Hard
that's
life
how.
for me.
Huh?
I was just singing Annie. It's a hard life for me.
But it's this historian was saying all this.
I wanted to bring back another scene that we back when when they were on the island and they were singing the pirate song, and she's singing along like she did when she was a little girl, and Jack singing, and she's pretending to be drunk and he's actually drunk, and it was a really great scene. I really enjoyed it. How are you, Tammy?
What?
You didn't hear anything I said, did you?
A little bit. I was yelling
I was
at
talking
David.
about the scene where they were singing the pirate song on the island.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was a really fun scene. I really enjoyed that when she was pretending to drink and be drunk, and he was actually drunk.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He was digging out my book. I bought this when the last days that Blockbuster was around. And this book, it shows
And
how they did things and scenes and everything in it.
Nice.
oh, nice. And why were you yelling at Dave? Ooh.
Because he was digging it out from somewhere that I didn't want him to dig it out from.
Were you in there on Unmentionables?
This was the last thing that she got from Blockbuster before it went out of business.
Oh.
And I got it at a really good price.
They're not out of business.
Fun fact, here in my town, one of the last video rental stores we had before it also went out of business from there.
Well, Blockbuster is still online. You can go to Blockbuster.
Krol, and if you could tell us exactly what was one of your favorite scenes or many of your favorite scenes from Pirates of the Caribbean, what would it be?
That is really a tough thing, because the whole movie is just so great and so well done. Any scene with Jack Sparrow, which is almost every scene. But like I said, Keira Knightley did such a great job, and I don't know the guy's name who played Will, I forgot, but he did a great job too, and everybody was so good. But I guess the blacksmith scene, the fight scene, was definitely a favorite scene of mine. And the whole the first scene where this is the day you'll remember is the day you almost caught Jack Sparrow, and that's another favorite. And I have to mention the cave at the end where he steals the coin and then gets stabbed, and he finds out that he's now cursed too. And it was great. It was a great scene. At first, when I first saw it, I was like, "Oh, he was cursed too all along." I didn't realize that he had just became cursed because he had just stolen the coin. I was thinking he was always cursed, and then I realized afterwards, when I saw it again, that he just became cursed because he just stole the coin now. So I caught that the second or third time I saw it. But yeah, those scenes are really really great. And of course, the first time you find out that they're all, I mean, you heard the story that they said that the Black Pearl was they were all undead, and then you saw them, they looked human. They looked human pirates, and then you find out that they really were undead. That was also another especially awesome scene.
Yeah, I also found this thing with the coin a little confusing at first, but then I looked it up online later, and then it made more sense.
Yeah, like I said, the first time I didn't catch it, didn't catch every little detail like that. I knew that they were cursed because of the money and stuff, but I didn't catch every little detail about that. But after the second, third time, I caught that little detail that they at the end he had when he grabbed a bunch of coins and he's like playing with them. He pocketed one of them. I saw him actually pocket that time. I was really paying attention and I saw him actually do it. Um, little sleight of hand trick he did, and not even the undead pirates noticed. Like I think Will saw it when he stole the coin. Um, but other than that, no one else noticed. He did a really good job of right in front of their faces stealing the coin. And then like you said, I couldn't help myself, because he's a pirate. That's what he does. He steals gold. Even though he knows it was cursed, he had to steal it. So yeah.
Okay,
Alrighty.
Philippe, what was yours?
My favorite scene, well, I'm just trying to think of one. It's difficult to choose one, but yeah, I definitely liked the scenes when we got to see some of Jack's sense of humor, like when he was making fun of Will during the sword fight in the barn, or when
The blacksmith. Yeah.
yeah, uh, or when he bribed those two guys not to have to give them his name and
There was only one guy.
stuff like.
The other one was the little kid, the little black kid that was following him around. I'm guessing he was training him or something, or showing him what to do.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I'm trying to think which scene it was. I kind of can't remember
It
from the
was
top of my
the
mind.
harbor master, and he had a little black kid with him. Maybe it was his son or adult son or something, or whoever it was. It was just
Oh,
someone following him around. And he didn't say anything to the kid when he took the bribe, though. So I don't know if he was training him or what the deal with the kid. But yeah, I was wondering that myself. If he was training him, why he didn't say anything about the bribe? He just put it in his book and let Jack go. So
So, Tammy, did you have a favorite scene?
Well, I actually
Uh,
got a couple of them. I love the first sword fight. That I just thought was great between Will and Jack. I just
yep,
that
that's what
was
I just said.
awesome.
Yep.
And my other favorite part is when the skeletons are walking underwater and they're going to the ship. I think that just looks so cool.
That was a cool scene.
I'm going to have
definitely.
I'm going to have to go with one of my favorite scenes. I think I mentioned this earlier. Is when they're both marooned on the island, and as she uh, makes a bonfire out of the rum, and he's like, What happened to the rum? What happened to the rum?"
Oh yeah.
But why the
Um,
rum? He doesn't
that
care about the food
that to me
or anything
that
else, just the rum.
that to me is the scene that I remember the most out of this movie for some reason, and then when Gibbs actually tells her the story about how he roped a couple of sea turtles to get out of there, that was kind
What'd
of
you
an
use for rope?
interesting.
Human hair from my back. Of course, that was totally fabricated, but it was a great story.
And I don't know why, but I love every moment with Laurel and Hardy with the glass eye thing that just is too comical. And
Yeah.
there's a deleted scene um, where the two are like peering at her while she's undressing, and she literally pokes his eye out, and it rolls around, and he's trying to find it. They deleted that from there, and I wish they would have kept it in there. But there is a moment that Tammy forgot to mention is Elizabeth's father. He's just such a dandelion. When he goes inside the captain's quarters and that hand is flopping around, and when the curse is lifted, he opens up the drawer and he's like, ugh.
Well, he is, but when they try to steal his wig, that's when he smashed the skeleton's hand off. Like he broke the. Like, don't fuck with my wig. Like you fuck with me, I'm scared, but don't fuck with my wig.
That's the first time he actually grew a backbone.
He was kind of a badass for a moment when he did that. He was like, he took his wig and he was just like, and he just grabs the wig back like, how dare you take my wig? And he's like pulling it out, and that's when he takes the hammer, he smashes it. That was a fun scene.
It's definitely a different role of his than when he was the bad guy on The World Is Not Enough with against James Bond. I don't know if you've ever seen that film, but he was.
Is that Sean Connery?
No, that is not Sean Connery. That is Pierce Brosnan in The World Is Not Enough.
I have not seen that one then. I know I've seen one with Pierce Brosnan, but I think he did two or three. And I did not see that one. I've seen all of Sean Connery's. I've seen most of. I think I've seen all of Moore's.
Tammy and I actually went and watched all the Bonds up until Spectre. At one point in time,
I really love the one they just had. Daniel, is it Daniel Craig?
Daniel Craig, yeah.
I really like him. He's great. Shame this is his last James Bond movie. I heard they were thinking about making a female James Bond because James Bond is just basically a code name.
Icon.
Yeah, a code name in 007. So I don't have a problem with it. Some people do, but I don't have a problem with it.
But those are the extent of my stuff. What did we think about the music of the film? I thought the music was awesome.
Yeah,
I didn't really
definitely
pay attention to music, so I guess it did a good job of blending in with the movie and making it feel realistic. Because it didn't stand out to me at all. But I guess in not standing out, it was good because it didn't detract me from the movie at all, as some music can.
Well, whenever there would be like an intense thing, especially with Jack, the music would like kick in, and you knew it was something with Jack, just because the same music played every time there was something with Jack.
Like Darth Vader's music when the Imperial March and stuff. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the music definitely did add an extra touch of epicness to the whole thing.
The music was composed by Klaus Badelt, and he has been involved in quite a number of films. Before this one, he did the music for Basic, Ned Kelly, The Recruit, Equilibrium, K-19, The Widowmaker, The Time Machine remake, the Pledge, and he really became busy after this. He did the music behind Catwoman, Constantine, a movie called The Promise, 16 Blocks, Ultraviolet, Poseidon remake, Premonition. He did the music for TMNT. And he did some of the music behind Starship Troopers.
The first one or the Secret of the Ooze?
Which one?
I said the first one or the Secret of the Ooze?
This is the cartoon, technically considered the fourth film. It's the animated
CGI
one. Yeah, the CGI one that some people hated and some people liked.
Was he behind the other pirate movies too?
No, he does not do any of the music for any of the other pirate movies. He just does this one. So, and Gore Verbinski trying to see Gore Verbinski. He definitely directed this one, but and he directed Dead Man's Chest in 2006.
There is another movie I associate with that name.
And he did At World's End, which was, I think, the third one.
I thought World's End was the last one.
Okay.
No, At World's End was
Go
not
ahead,
the
Boris.
last one.
What were you saying?
There was On Stranger Tides and another one in between. So there's been 5 of them so far.
I've seen them all. I just forgot what order they came in.
Boris was trying to say something. Go ahead.
I was saying there is another movie I associate with the name Gore Verbinski, and I'm surprised Dave hasn't just read that one.
The Ring.
Yes, bingo.
He did The Ring, and he also directed a lot of the music videos for the band Bad Religion, which is a punk band. He also directed a music video for the band Monster Magnet.
Nice.
And he also directed Mouse Hunt.
Good movie.
And The Weatherman with Nicolas Cage. He also directed the movie Rango and The Lone Ranger.
I love Lone Ranger.
And A Cure for Wellness.
Haven't seen that.
Tammy and I have that Cure for Wellness one that was with that kid who.
Yep, I like Rango.
Now Lone Ranger actually.
Lone Ranger.
I actually used to watch the serial back when I was a kid, the black and white Lone Ranger serial.
I have the first 2 seasons of the Lone Ranger.
Wow, nice.
As well as the I have several radio broadcasts of the Lone Ranger radio stuff.
I had a Lone Ranger toy with his horse.
Well, I didn't want to bring everything out like when he brought out the book, but I actually have a Pirates of the Caribbean game that you play. It's an interactive with like the DVD. You put it on the DVD.
Oh no, I like those interactive DVDs. They make a lot of those games. I remember I had one I bought my mother. It was a monster one.
And I have another little book that you use like the scope when you're reading it. You know, it was just this little book that came out. I think my stepdad saw it because he knew I liked the pirates and picked it up for me. So.
Nice.
But other than that, I think that's pretty much it for this film. So is there anything else that anyone wanted to mention about this film before we sign off for when we do our next film, which will probably be in about 2 weeks?
If you haven't seen it, go watch it. And while you're watching it, watch the rest of them. They're all on Disney Plus and great watches. I mean, I binged them all when I watched them all. I think I may binge them all again. I certainly wanted to after watching this, but it was late when I watched this one, so I certainly couldn't do it last night. But yeah, it's definitely worth watching all of them and see the brilliance of Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow in all of them. I believe Keira Knightley is in most of them, right?
She is in the first 3.
Yeah, I think she was in 3 of them. Yeah.
I know that I know
Will's in
that
a
she
couple.
wasn't in on Stranger Tides and the last one. I think she was in not in the one where it was Penelope Cruz was in the one because one had had Salazar and the other had Blackbeard. So trying to remember, but Keira Knightley didn't come back until the final one, I think.
Now, I mentioned earlier that I wanted another actor to come into the series and be like Johnny Depp's cousin. That was Russell Brand. If you've seen Russell Brand's movies, he is absolutely hilarious and he reminds me a lot of Johnny Depp. And I think the two of them in a Pirates movie would be absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I could see them playing off each other so well. And if Disney went and got Russell Brand for another movie, it would be awesome.
I would love if they would return to this series, except do Johnny Depp or not Johnny Depp, Jack Sparrow when he was younger.
Can you see this? This is signed by Johnny Depp.
Awesome.
Wow! Really?
Yep.
Awesome.
See, it's
nice.
Now, did you buy that, or did you meet him and have him sign it?
Huh?
Did you meet him and have him sign it, or did you buy it?
I got a thing about this. It was an exclusive thing. It was only so many of them.
Okay.
And in fact, I think David bought it for me.
Yep.
Oh.
I mean, it's cool. It just would have been cooler if you actually met him.
And then his mom went and found the really cool frame for it.
I got a Star Wars sweater that's signed by
And then
most of the actors.
David found me a thing. I've got it hanging up on the wall. It's from the actual announcement or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
For the movie.
Yep.
They had like a poster up for the announcement of the movie.
Yep.
And I got that one hanging up.
But in any case, yeah, definitely go out and see the film. If you don't like Disney Plus and you like physical, definitely pick them up. So in any case, like, share, and subscribe. And I think that we will be doing the first Japanese Ring in 2 weeks.
Japanese version?
Yeah, the Japanese version.
I'll talk to you.
Do you not like the Japanese version, or did you
I've never
know
seen
it
it,
existed?
and quite frankly, it's not on any streaming site. So
I'm sorry, what did you say? It's not.
I will have to get you a copy of it then.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention, because there's no, it's not going to be on. I mean, maybe, but I doubt it. I mean, what is it, subtitles?
Yep.
Man, you're killing me. I freaking hate subtitles.
Yeah.
It's something that he's been wanting to do, and
I get it. I just hate subtitles.
But
if I want to read, I'll
luck.
pick up a book. I don't want to read a movie.
I'm with you, Krol. I don't like watching the subtitles either, David.
Because
David and I
I'm
go
too
about this
busy.
all the
I'm
time.
too busy reading the words, and I miss what's happening. I mean, I've seen the ring, but still.
Well, the Japanese version is different from the American one.
Well, I won't see it. I won't be able to see it because I'll be too busy reading the words.
Some main plot points are the same, but especially the backstory of the antagonist, which no one knows who it is, right? But yeah, the backstory is very different between the Japanese and American version. But okay, maybe I shouldn't start rambling about that now.
Yep. Wait for us to come back on to discuss a film that maybe you guys may like, may not. So, and I know I will probably be breaking out my Arrow copy of The Ring. So, definitely let us know whether you'll like that film either or not. So,
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not going to be here next Sunday because we're celebrating my birthday.
Well,
So-
in 3 weeks on my pick, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to do the first Fast and Furious movie because Tammy loves cars. So I figured I'll do a car movie. And I love that movie myself. So that's my pick for 3 weeks from now.
And I've actually not seen any of the Fast Furious ones.
You have not?
No.
Holy shit. Well, here you go. Here's your chance. Now, I suggest you watch them all. But at least you got to watch the first one. So
there is actually one that she has seen. It's Hobbs and Shaw.
That is a great side. That's a spinoff.
That one is pretty good.
Movie. Yeah, they play off each other very well.
My favorite car movie though is Christine.
Yeah, I'm not sure to say it's your favorite movie. I mean, who knows? It might become your favorite. I don't know, but you'll at least appreciate all the cars in it, if nothing else.
Well,
so
on that note, and really bad eggs. Drink up, me hearties. Go home. Say good night, everyone.
Good night,
everyone.
Good night.
Even though it's daytime.